Hey guys, good morning, good evening everyone. In this series, we are going to see about a very important feature in Azure Devops called as auto redeployment trigger. Okay, auto redeployment trigger. So what exactly it does? The auto redeployment trigger, what it is going to be helpful for us is as simple, right? So when we try to do a normal CI/CD process, like this is my Git repository. From here, I'm trying to take the code and I'm putting it on my CI pipeline, and then the CI pipeline is generating me an artifact, and this artifact I'm going to take it to my CD pipeline, and from the CD pipeline I will put it into different environment stages. One can be a development stage, one can be a QA stage, one can be a production stage, right? And before production stage is where my approvals are happening. So this is, we call it as gates, where a change authority board approval will happen, and after the production deployment is completed, this is where my auto redeployment trigger will happen. Like if suppose the production deployment is getting failed, then what will happen? There will be a huge downtime, there will be a chaos happening between multiple teams. You have to answer to the business, you have to answer to the clients and everyone. Instead of that, when the production deployment fails, there is an option from Azure Devops where you can tell, like, please take the last successful deployment and then release it as soon as possible, so that it allows a minimal downtime to the people and no one will even know that the successful deployment happened or not, right? So this options will be very much useful for the production live deployments, especially for the banking and other applications where downtime is not even accepted. Okay. Let's see in action how this happens. Right? Let's jump on to our Azure DevOps. And in our last episode, you would have seen like we have tried to import the code from GitHub into Azure DevOps. And with that, what happens is like we have created a CI pipeline, and this is my CI pipeline for the Maven applications, where you can see a simple Maven POM XML and then an var file getting generated, and then an artifact is getting stored. You can see the artifact over here. This is my var file. This is a normal CI application with the artifact getting generated. This artifact we are trying to send it to the release pipeline. On the release pipeline is where you can see different stages getting created, like a development environment stage, a QA environment stage, and a production environment stage. And each stage has its own task and everything, right? So here is where I have given a pre-deployment approval and everything before it goes to the production. And on the post-deployment conditions is where I have an option called as auto redeployment trigger. And I just need to enable it and then say, if the production deployment fails, then redeploy the last successful deployment. Right? So this is the just condition that I have to enable. And once this is done, let us quickly start the release. And what it will happen is like it will automatically make all the environments successful for the first time, because I want to show you everything successful. And then I will manually make a mistake on the production environment to make it fail, so that the last successful deployment will automatically trigger. Right? So we will see how that happens. Since this is an example, you can just see simple steps, but when it applies to a real-time production environment, it will be much more valuable to an organization and a company, right? So this is, all these settings are the same. It's just like a demo environment or an original production environment. So that's the difference. So you can see development succeeded, QA succeeded, and then it asked for a production approval. Once if I approve it, I'm just saying approve to go to prod, and then I'm clicking on approve. Once approval is completed, then the production deployment will happen automatically. And let's make everything successful for the first time. Then I will manually make a mistake, and then we will see how an auto redeployment trigger happens. Right? And all these approvals and everything will be notified to you on an email, or you can enable the Teams or Slack options also. So now all these three is successful. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm trying to make a manual mistake. Let me go to the production, and here I'm just trying to make a mistake called echo 1. So there is no command in Unix called as echo 1, so this will fail for sure. Okay. Now I'm going back to my release pipeline. Here you can see the release 3 is successful with all the 3. Now I'm creating a release again, and let's see now if a release 4 fails, automatically the release 3 should start, right? So that's what we are going to look into it. So let's see how it goes. Okay, you can see from this window typically that for the release 4, the development environment is started. Once it is completed, then the QA environment will get started. Okay, this is done. So now the QA should get started automatically. Good. So QA started automatically. Now, before it goes to the production, it will ask for an approval. So let's see what happens. Okay. Now it is on the production, and if you see here, approval pending. So just click on this and then click on approve. Right. So now you can see this will fail, and then the redeployment trigger should happen. Okay, it's running. Okay, it failed. So now once it fails, then the post condition that we have given for the redeployment trigger should get enabled. See, now it got enabled, and the release 3, where the previous successful deployment, has now asking for an approval. So now just click on approve it, and then this should run automatically, so that is the last successful deployment. Right? So this is an option which will be very much helpful for us in case of a real-time production, and this will be very much helpful so that people will not even face a downtime, and they will not know that the last deployment has failed or other things, right? Okay, now it is completed. This is the example of auto redeployment trigger, and if you guys have any issues or any concerns or any comments, please feel free to let me know. I'll be happy to help you guys across. In the meantime, see you. Happy learning.